Good evening, live from the tip of Cock Tower Square. This is your Ass Hurts News Network with your host, Sarge.
Well, look who's in charge today. You be, Today is Tuesday, boss day for Cletus. Well, I'm glad I could join you, Cletus.
Glad you could be here, Sarge. Glad you could be here.
What do you got for us tonight? This is what I thought we created an open conversation night. So,
Well, I don't know. The topic of conversation for me since 11 o'clock this morning has been Sebastian Rogers.
Sebastian Rogers, that poor young man.
And where could the boy be?
Where might the boy genius be?
Where might he be? And at this point, I would consider him a genius because he's evaded all of the massive brain power and brain trust of these YouTube streets, as well as law enforcement.
Well, they've made their conclusion early on, didn't they? The YouTube streets with Seth's, problematic past.
You mean Chris?
Chris, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get names.
Chris.
I'm terrible with names, folks. I apologize. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, it's okay. It's just a matter of time. I mean, they're all interchangeable. It's just a difference in the time it's been since he went missing.
I spent a little bit of time on Twitter today, and I couldn't endure it, to be very honest with you. It's so reminiscent of why I left in 2020. Every time I go back on there, it's like a slap in the face. I got to slap myself to go in.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard out here on these social media streets, to stay at the top. You gotta have that bionic ear and bionic eye, and a plethora of go powder.
A plethora of goat powder. What the hell is goat powder?
Go powder. The shit that some of these guys that have the bionic eye and ears seem to.
Oh, that stuff you buy on infomercials to make you stronger.
Yeah, that shit that gets stuck to the edge of your nose on some of these
That
streams.
shit is bullshit. You should see how big my hand is from one of them products. I got one hand that's so big I can't even put it on. I feel like O.J. Simpson. No glove fits.
You just obviously didn't pay attention to the label. It says use only as directed.
But that's what they directed I do. It's just crazy. These infomercials get me every time too. I'm still terrified about medicine that'll kill you by infecting your perineum. I really have an issue with that. I got a phobia. I got taint phobia, Cletus.
Well, it ain't an issue until it becomes an issue.
And then it's taint over for you, right? It's just, I think all the world's a stage, and I'm afraid.
All the world is a stage, and you're afraid. Well,
maybe I should get a dog, Cletus.
I would say a small domestic jungle cat would probably suit you better.
Oh yeah, I got my eyes on one of those. They're called a serval cat. They're I forget the name of them, but yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
they're about the size of a not the bulk of, but the size of probably like a golden retriever or something, or even a little smaller than a shepherd at the back. They're a good sized cat. Listen, I want to share. Do you mind if I share a little bit of what I had on Twitter? I think this maybe memorializes the reason why I was driven to the brink of insanity and had to walk away. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you know anybody named Mark Hamill? Does anybody know somebody named Mark Hamill?
Is that the guy that played Luke Skywalker?
Now, thank you. I didn't even know who the guy was. I appreciate that a lot. You don't know how much. Well, this like an antidepressant pill.
That comes from a guy who's actively sitting here talking to you wearing a Wookiee robe.
Oh my God, a Wookiee robe. So here's the deal. Mark Hamlin says that Joe Biden is the best president we've ever had. Now, I want everybody to feel what they feel and be able to express what they want to express. However, I disagree with that so vehemently that it's just something I don't need to see. And here's the best part about this. It isn't Mark Hamlin that posted that for me to see. It's somebody that opposes the Bidens. So someone like myself that isn't in tune with that particular insanity over there, they post this guy's comment so that everybody like me that don't even know who this guy is, right, now knows what he thinks. Some piece of information I just absolutely don't want to be a part of, nor do I want to discuss Mark Hamlin's thoughts on Joe Biden, right? And what the point I'm trying to make is we do this to ourselves. I wouldn't even know. Now, if I didn't ask you, I wouldn't even know who the guy is, right?
Yeah.
I've lived a great life without knowing who he is or what he did. Now, I still live a great life knowing who he is. And I don't even care what he thinks about Biden. But it's people that are supposed to be opposing Biden or opposing the left, right? They're the ones that are pushing this shit in the face of the right. In other words, we're drowning ourselves in their bullshit.
Well, the statement was that Joe Biden is the best president ever. Is that fair? Is that what he
Correct.
said?
Which,
Okay,
yeah.
so it does present a very valid question that I don't think anybody ever truly asks in the right way.
Which
What
is
how do you quantify the best president? What would be the best president? Because every election year it becomes about which of the two assholes that are either the elephant or the jackass this you more closely align with or you believe will do better than the last jackass or elephant that just left. But is that truly how you quantify the best president?
maybe if I say this, you'll understand the point I think I'm trying to make. I think you're having that conversation is exactly the problem I'm trying to point out.
Okay.
Because what you just laid out is sensible, logical, and reasonable on its face. So I am in no way, shape, or form impugning your ingenuity, your brilliance, or you as a person. But engaging in that discussion is the problem. I don't need to be part of that discussion, nor do you. What about the 360,000 kids that are stolen every year from this country and marketed around the globe? What about all the trouble we have in our police agencies and our school districts? And even worse, what about all the wonderful people in this country that do the right thing all the fucking time? None of the air goes to those people. We trap ourselves off by somebody that supposedly is like you and me mindset, right? It's the similar mindset that drowns us with everything the other jerk off say. If they say anything about global warming, that becomes all we get to talk about. Now, I don't want to talk about that. It doesn't move the ball anywhere.
That's ultimately what my point was, right? Is we quantify the best president based on bullshit. When at the end of the day, to me, if I were going to look and say this was the best president, I would pick a fucking one of them because I haven't lived through any time period where there was ever one that did anything I truly give a fuck about.
True. But you see,
that's my point, right?
I agree with your point, but you're taking it down a road. I think that's logical, but it destroys what I'm trying to point out. We're our own propagandists. We do this to ourselves. We retweet that guy's statement so that millions of us engage that statement, and we shouldn't be discussing that statement at all.
Right.
We should not be retweeting their bullshit. Right. Okay, and then because what you're saying is not only smart and logical and accurate, it's like we know that. But for some reason, the issues where we can have a voice or we can impact or change the narrative from these goofballs, we lost that. We lose the opportunity to have any narrative that isn't generated by the nut jobs and then forwarded to you by people that you think are on your team. It's like, I mean, what does Joe Biden need CNN for? They got you. I mean, that's you follow what I'm saying? What does global warming need MSNBC for? They got you and I. Because it's somebody we know that
All I
throws in
caught
our
was, am I
face.
following what?
What?
All I caught was, am I following what you're saying? You're cutting in and out on me. I don't know if it's my end or yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I'm saying is we're our own worst enemy. We post what they bring up as conversation, and we don't have any of our own conversations that matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does.
And that's tragedy. The same thing happens in all these true crimes, and a slightly different twist to it, and where they want to go after people and demonize somebody and cause all the drama and talk about people like we're little kids on a playground, rather than talk about what we can do to solve the issue or help the issue, or maybe not even help it. But wouldn't it have been nice if everybody's cover page was Sebastian Rogers every day on every stream?
Yeah.
Right? That's true crime. Why couldn't we? And here's what I'm saying, Cletus. I don't think it's beyond any of the people on social media to understand this, or more importantly, do it. But instead, somehow we're dragged down the rabbit holes of Biden's the best president, the global warming, and Chris Proudfoot slapped somebody when he was 12. You follow? So you see what I'm saying? That to me is the most depressing thing about social media, is what really should get focus gets no focus, because we allow ourselves to get caught up in bullshit.
Yeah, the discussion never has a point that's going anywhere, or rarely has one. I'll say the vast majority of the discussions don't go anywhere. They, in your words, they don't offer solutions.
Latest breaking news. The newsroom was just the newsroom was just advised by the management of the Cock Tower that the ballroom below will be open for weddings and special engagements. The ballroom is named Ligma Balls, and that will be open and available to the public immediately. So book your weddings, plan ahead, and enjoy your time at the Ligma Balls ballroom. Cletus?
Is that sponsored by our Chinese corporate sponsor, Ding a Ling?
Ding-a-Ling is a main sponsor and the prime architect, along with Dingleberries, who didn't really get much of a showing in the production of the tower and the construction of the tower. But Dingleberries are part of the tower, as I've been told.
Phase two of the construction.
Phase two, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, where were we, Cletus, before that massive interruption of the Ligma ballroom?
We were talking about how the discussions rarely go anywhere or have a point that's actually a solution to anything out here on social media. Yeah.
And the funny thing is the 6 degrees of separation. When people mention that, they like they're smart or something, or I don't know what it means. But anyway, the separation between doing what's right and doing what's wrong is almost nothing. The effort to put forward is like, you're still clicking on the same keyboard. You're still looking at the same phone, right?
Yeah.
You're still, and I often wonder if we were to count the amount of viewed hours on this Sebastian Roberts case, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder what that total number of viewer hours would be.
Oh, in the millions. Probably tens of millions.
And so now tens of millions of people know that Chris is an asshole. Cletus?
Asshole, narcissist, let's see, abuser, and controlling of his wife. I think that's a fair assessment.
His wife, right?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment based on the tens of millions of view hours of bullshit about
Anybody that's ever been married knows that the most uncontrollable thing to do with your wife is put her in the passenger seat of your car. Please.
The most uncontrollable thing to do. Well, expand upon that, Sarge. Expand upon that.
Well, it's the old backseat driver.
Oh.
Yeah. You're going too fast, honey. Your turn's coming up.
Why are you going this way?
Well, I don't know how I got down this road, Cletus. This happens to me a lot. I get lost in my head.
No, I'm saying that's another statement that you would hear as well. Is why are you going?
I know
this way?
that's exactly how I would have answered her.
Oh, I got you.
Oh my, we're yeah, and so between the social media outlets, I think universally, if we were to describe them as any kind of a neighborhood, we probably would start with the word bad, right?
Oh yeah, it'd be the hood.
The hood.
Yeah, the hood. I mean, if you look around, right? If you look around, I think the cast of characters that you find, the percentages of one type of cast of character versus the percentage of another, I would say the percentages would align with the hood.
With the hood, I agree. And
the large majority are batshit crazy, and ex-cons that have refused to change their ways for the most part, versus the few that are good and genuine people.
I've been in business quite a long time, and I do have a very, very good business, and it's always been based on truth. And it's funny that in today's world, if you look at social media, the amount of money generated by filling people's heads with bullshit is a staggering sum of money. It literally is staggering. And 99.9999999 smack me 999% of what's shared openly across this wire system is bullshit. All nonsensical, do nothing, accomplish nothing, achieve nothing, bullshit. And you can't even really call it entertainment. Because if you're entertained by 360,000 women and children going missing every year, okay? Or you're entertained by putting money in the pockets of people to continue to cause a war in Europe, or you're entertained by the 4 horrific murders in Idaho, and you get involved in here all of this bullshit and it's entertaining you, that's a hole you ain't ever crawling out of, because there's no entertainment value to any of this stuff. These are serious issues, serious matters.
And the discussions around them should be to some degree as well.
Right. They should be, there should be some banter. There should be mainly facts discussed. There could even be some off-key humor added to them when you're dealing with the facts, right? And
there's always at the Cock Tower Plaza.
The Cock Tower, well, yeah, at the high top, at the tip of the Cock Tower, on Cock Tower Square, China. Yeah, and that ligament my balls room is supposed to be fantastic, though. I haven't personally been there yet, but I've experienced something similar. Without getting too graphic. Cletus?
Ding-a-ling. Greatest sponsor ever.
The old dingleberries are here. Someone is saying. I wonder.
Did we lose you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wonder if you ever read this stuff somebody has said.
What stuff somebody has said? What are you talking?
I think you're referring to the chat room, and I do watch the chat room. Absolutely.
Oh, I don't. I can't see it. I hadn't figured that part out yet.
Oh, you can tell. We are on X, we are on Rumble, and we are on YouTube. And we have the combined polling power. Our news network has hit 4950 viewers at the moment.
Uh-oh.
From atop this massive Cock Tower, you would suspect that we would have probably, reached a few more people.
Well,
but time will tell, Cletus. Time will tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, how do we convey to the user that the biggest problem on the internet is the user?
By pointing out the pointless discussions. I'll give you an example. There's
Hold on, wait a minute. Someone made reference to the D in the chat room. Sorry, please. Back to you.
I'll give you an example. There's a variety of call-in shows that are YouTube true crime, and over the course of 30 minutes to an hour, you may hear anywhere from 10 to as many as 20 calls. And what's funny is every single call, 80% of the context of it is the same. And it always ends the same way. Thanks for calling. We're out of time. And then somebody else calls in and the exact same discussion is regurgitated. And it goes absolutely nowhere. And these are some of the biggest channels out there.
Yeah. Well, again, look at it. I think money is not a problem, but your interaction with money is. Is that fair?
Yeah. Your dependency upon it.
Well, it's not your dependency. I'll call it your interact, because folks, it should be breaking news, but the fact that I'm providing you with a genius moment should be no fucking surprise. So anyway, Cletus, your interaction with the money and how you obtain it and what you'll do for it is what I'm specifically referring to when I say money is fine, but it's your interaction with it that's the problem.
Okay, that's yeah.
Right? That's kind of like a genius statement, right?
Yeah.
Especially if your IQ is 50 or 60 and I'm 90. You're set.
Yeah. Yeah. You learned me something.
So your interaction with the money is what you need to question, not the money itself. Money is just a thing, but you are a living, breathing, supposedly thinking, feeling, emotional, sensible human being. A deer is not going to have the discussion about those 4 kids murdered in Idaho. They're not even going to have a discussion about the deer that was taken out by a wolf right next to them and they ran away. The only thing they're going to have going for them is they now know to run the next time they see a wolf. That's what they walk away with. That's it, right?
So are you suggesting that a viewer that would, let's say, donate $10 to a stream to make sure that their comment was read, only for their comment to say, I saw Chris Proudfoot at a campground in Mississippi, that would be a bad interaction with money?
Yeah, and that the people in the audience should tell people like that to give all your money because you're just too stupid to have even earned it fairly. Okay. And really that's what we need to do as a group of people that are trying to be fair and sensible. Doesn't mean we can't be wrong. Being wrong is the only recognizable place to begin learning. When you recognize you're wrong, I'll say another genius fucking moment. When you see that you are wrong, you now open the door to becoming educated and learning something. Fair enough?
Fair enough. There's a word for that.
What do
I
they
believe
call
it's
it?
called humility.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know. How about if I think the funny thing is people make fun of common sense and they think they live their life based on common sense. But is it common sense to do something that helps nobody and potentially hurts others to put money in your pocket? Is there any common sense to do that, Cletus?
None.
How about you're participating and being the person that funds it?
None.
Because your participation, you're showing up in this room. If I were to monetize this room, for every viewer I get, turns into a monetization, correct?
Correct.
The more viewers, the more money.
That's correct.
So if I'm like a boot licking, scum sucking JLR, I'm doing well. And what
Click
am I doing
sucking.
for the world?
Click sucking. Yeah.
Yeah. So what value does he add to everyday common man life?
More to come, Sarge. More to come.
And I'm not saying I'm adding anything to anybody's life because I am kind of a dick. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, but the point is, I think what I'm trying to point out to people is you can add value to your own fucking life if you just stop being the retards that you are in these streams with these people and going with these rabbit hole fucking theories, parachutes and tunnels. And the guy that was researching AIDS created a special drug and wiped out his friends. And Donna Ives was mistreated by the hospital and the cop killed her. I mean, look at the insanity. The Rhodes people, if they just stopped and thought for a moment and looked at the information, which never says what it is the popular opinion says, right?
Yeah.
It's
there's a statement, and I forget who made it, but it's whatever, right? It says if you if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Right.
And I think in the rooms of social media streets, if people actually honed in on that thought and that concept in every one of these rooms that they go into, and actually took to heart that statement, there might be a lot less people in a lot a lot more rooms.
Well, someone made a comment,
or maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe common sense just eludes us all as a majority.
I think there is no such thing as common sense anymore. I think it's been destroyed. I think common sense has been, like everything else, misinterpreted. The word vaccine used to mean that you would get a shot and never have to worry about it again. It no longer applies to the word vaccine, right?
Okay. So the sense and common sense has been replaced with narrative.
Yeah.
Is that what
They've
you think?
changed the definition, right? There used to be almost 400,000 glaciers on Earth. They've reduced that number to 197,000. Now, let me just say this. That's a lot of ice, okay? And they're not talking about 197,000 snowdrifts. They said glaciers. And we're all worried about drowning and bursting in the flames. Cletus? But I do want to answer a question from the chat room or a statement.
Go ahead.
You see what's on the screen? It says, Wanda, did you know he can lead a horse to water and make him drink? And I absolutely can. There's no doubt in my mind. I'd make that horse guzzle water. And you know how I would do it, don't you, Cletus?
Well, common sense would say you feed it salt.
There you go. You heard it here. You heard it first.
Always common sense coming from the tip of Tower Square.
We shoot it straight, okay? Oh my God. Yeah, you feed that, just put some salt on its tongue. Just keep putting some salt on its tongue. And I promise you that horse will drink as quickly as you can imagine.
Absolutely.
So, it's also like people say 1 and 1 is 2. No, you're wrong. 1 and 1 is 3. 1 and 1 is 3. Man, woman, child. 1 and 1 make 3. You see? 1, 2, 3. So my point is that sometimes things, as ridiculous as they sound, can be supported with fact. It's the context of the fact that you're reviewing. That's all that matters, right? And for some reason, we seem to accept the most, I don't even know, drama-laden, outrage-inspiring bullshit on every single issue that comes across the table, whether it be global warming or it be Chris Proudfoot or it be Katie, right?
Well, let's go down the road of your logic. 1 and 1 is 3, and that there is some logic in that statement. Then explain how that same regard shouldn't be applied to this scenario, right? 1 being Chris Proudfoot owns a belt and isn't afraid to use it. 2 being Sebastian Rogers is an autistic child. 3 being Chris Proudfoot must have done something to Sebastian Rogers. Wouldn't that logic apply there?
Well, that logic doesn't draw a straight chain together. There's no connection to the events. There are 3 unrelated events where when I say 1 and 1 equals 3, man, woman, child, I have a direct connection. They're completely and factually connected. And so to say 1 and 1 equals 3 is supportable, and it's a fair statement. Now you can argue 1 and 1 makes 1, right? You can argue 1 and 1 could make 3. She could have twins, the triplets, quadruplets, right? So 1 and 1 isn't always what you think. It really is the context and how you're using it and framing it. But when you have a way to connect things directly, man, woman, child, that's much different than what he did with a belt some years ago and the kid coming up missing, or even his stern attitude towards an upbringing. I if people don't notice, I'm kind of a fucked up dude because I am on the spectrum of autism. I do have Asperger's. I look back at my life and I wonder how difficult I must have been for my step parents. I mean, how much of a role did that play in me being homeless at 14? And to say it was just because they were rotten pieces of shit would be a lie. Fair enough.
So are you suggesting that perhaps some of the difficulties was because of the difficulty you presented?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, brother.
oh.
Absolutely.
Well, now wait a minute. Now there's some victim shaming logic in there hidden somewhere.
Look at that. Crimes, lies, and videotapes. Wasn't that one of the persons that we had on that list or no?
No, Doc Thrifty.
Who's crimes, lies, and videotape?
Doc Thrifty.
I don't even know who Dot. What's a Dot Thrifty? What the fuck is that?
Doc Thrifty. That was his old channel name.
Do we know him or something?
All I see is a loudmouth, dick mouth who hates America. Go float to Poland. That's where the Polacks are.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
I dated a Polack girl once. Her father owned a big fucking masonry company, cement company. And you would easily fit in one of the back of his trucks there, dickhead. Nonetheless, Cletus, whoever. I don't even know who this guy is, but who died and made me king? Well, I'm king of my own fucking castle. Ain't nobody had to die. I paid for it, right?
You climbed to the top of Cock Tower Plaza. I mean,
I'm on top of Cock Tower Plaza.
you're kind of
Your Ass Hurts News Network. I'm the creator of Your Ass Hurts News Network. Apparently, your ass is aching hard. Crime, lies, and videotape. Look at you go. I got to go. Now you got to insult the Polish. You got to plague the Polish with my presence. And, look at that. You only have 300 followers. Of course, I only have 300 subs. Thank God. Thank God I don't have. Well, your subs, if they came here and had the ability to fucking think, would probably stay here and say, Jesus, what was I doing on that lunatic's channel? Do we know anything about his channel there, Cletus?
Watched it a few times. He's got a lot of interesting information on Enon Harsh for sure.
Oh, he focuses on so he's going to solve the crime from his computer. He's one of those guys.
Oh, he's got some pretty strong theories on the guy.
A male bubbly waters is what I'm hearing. Jesus Christ. Listen, you go solve your crimes on your cell phone or whatever electronic device you feel is appropriate. And you come back and let us know who killed Kennedy. And when you have that information, you're welcome back in the room.
I wonder why nobody on the social media platforms in true crime have found Jimmy Hoffa.
Well, because Jimmy Hoffa's probably been devoured. Okay. The idea they would just put him they would just bury him in cement is ridiculous. Cement gets dug up over time. I mean, people are too hung up on us Italians putting people in cement. Fucking idiots. There's lots of ways to dispose of a body. So here's what I mean about people. This statement says an awful lot about crime, lies, and videotape. And as much as his viewers love stuff like this, where you actually come out and you insult and attack people. Now, I don't particularly attack people so directly as much as I say all you assholes on social media are no better than crime, lies, and videotape. You're all a bunch of fucking dickheads, right? You're all a bunch of fucking drama queens, and you don't do anything to further anything and make any solution or the world any better. Matter of fact, you make the world worse with the way you fucking post, talk, congregate, and go to these fucking jerk-off channels like that. Yeah, I only have 300 subs in here, but let me just tell you, they're probably 300 of the smartest subs on fucking social media, as far as I'm concerned. Cletus?
Preach.
Right? They're not in here talking fucking shit. They know a horse with no legs ain't going nowhere. Okay? You would get on that motherfucker and beat it for all it's worth. Motherfucker.
And they understand if you put wheels on it, it becomes a bicycle.
Oh my fucking God.
And if you feed it salt, it'll drink itself to death.
I do facts, you do fat ass, Sarge. Yeah, you do facts. You wouldn't even know what a fact was. Right? Let's talk about fucking Enon Harsh, because he's the killer.
I'm suspecting he might just be purposely trying to get a rise out of you to fuck with you, but I may interpret it.
What he's doing, he's providing good examples for the audience that we have, regardless of its size. If there's one person in here, they're going to walk away realizing that the problem with the internet is the fucking people on it. And what keeps the people a problem are the people that are streamers and fucking all these people on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, and you fucking people don't give off anything that would help anybody except your wallet. It's incredible. And people think, well, I got more money than you. Yeah, well, Look at the damage you're doing to society. You're not helping anybody. And by blaming Enon Harsh is just, what the fuck, man? What's that got to do with what happened in that house? You can't prove Enon Harsh did a damn thing. Nor more than they can prove Brian Koberger did anything. Fair enough, Cletus?
That's fair.
But the only data we have that we can actually factually observe is accusing Koberger, right?
Well, that's the only data that law enforcement has presented that they've accused Brian Koberger with.
But Ann hasn't accused anybody, nor has Brian himself, right?
Well, and at the end of the day, those, the facts are that he's been accused. It's public record that he's been accused, and there are statements that are made as facts that are worth dissecting.
And so what we have before us in the Idaho 4 is a man accused of committing the murder, and we have the information surrounding that case, which is fair game to question. Right?
Yeah.
But looking at phones and reflections in pavements and fucking Enon Harsh and making discussions out of them is a distraction based on pure ignorance and drama. Is that fair?
That's fair. And at the end of the day, it completely sidesteps the real problem that exists when you look just beyond the homicide itself, is that there's an arrest made off of probable theory instead of probable cause.
You know, it's funny here that he says this, because if your mother didn't kiss me, that turd wouldn't be coming out of my mouth. But his mother was okay after I fucking endured that fucking nonsense.
Well, Sarge, you've officially made it. You've been trolled by Doc Thrifty.
Now, yeah, I don't even know who Doc
Thrifty is. You can put that plaque on your wall.
I can plaque it up. That's right. That's right. Because anybody that's going to spend their time dreaming up of scenarios of how these murders went down and how someone other than the accused is the one that did it, anybody that's time to do that is a raving fucking idiot. You have no reason to be doing that at all. It's like going after Chris Proudfoot's past. It's got nothing to fucking do with Sebastian Missing until it does. So you can't assume and act like it does until you have a solid connection, right?
Well, the way to put that is Chris Proudfoot's past has nothing to do with Sebastian Rogers' present until facts support that.
But here's the thing, even discussing whether it will or ever will is just irrelevant, because if it does, and we remember I said the other day, if is the 2-letter word that destroys everything.
Mm-hmm.
If.
Yeah.
If I'd have pulled out sooner, right?
If Nick Barris hadn't shoved the pineapple.
Right. That's what I said to that judge when that woman took me to court to be the father. I said, if. I said, stomach acid prevents pregnancy, Your Honor. And I swear to God, I said that. He froze. He didn't know what he just did. He's looking at me like he knows I said something that means something, but he didn't understand what I was saying. And he looks at me, he goes, excuse me? I said, Your Honor, she gave me a blowjob. And he started beating on that little puck that's on their desk, and it went flying, ping, bounced off the wall. You can't talk like that in my courtroom. I said, well, you're accusing me of being a father of a child, and I never had sex with a woman. She gave me head, period. And, yeah. But that was one of my epic statements. Stomach acid prevents pregnancy. Right? That's a fact, isn't it?
I could not imagine a logical argument to that, Sarge. I couldn't imagine.
Right? I mean, clearly. How about a lot of people may have heard this before, but you never heard about my one-armed woman, the lady with the fake arm? You never heard that story?
I don't know. I heard about the one-armed masseuse.
Well, that was just a shortcut to that story. I just was playing.
Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
She wasn't a masseuse. I actually met her in a bar and dated her, and she had a fake arm. And the way I found out about it was insane. So it comes down to this. I'll make the story real short. We're sitting at a table, we're talking, and we're kicking pretty good. We each I got us each something to drink. We're both buzzing, and she says, "There's something you need to know." She says, "I have a prosthesis." And immediately I think, what the fuck is that? I'm allergic to penicillin. This may be a bad day. My head is swimming with this thought. What the fuck is that? And I can't take penicillin. right? And I'm half drunk anyway. I'm half drunk. And then she takes her one arm and sticks it underneath the elbow of the other arm, and she flips it up and it bounces down on the table. It's a fake arm. And relief washed over me because now I knew that probably wasn't going to require penicillin, just disconnecting it.
Oh,
I swear to God, this is a true story. That's how I learned what the word prosthesis means. It shit freaked me out, man.
It's the only time prosthesis and penicillin have ever been used in the same sentence.
Well, you're out at the club, you're trying to get something, you know what I mean? You're trying to hook up. And when you're allergic to penicillin, you got to be careful.
Oh, where were we before we got sidetracked onto prosthetics and penicillin?
We were at the top of Cock Tower waiting for the next breaking news. Oh my God. I've done so many things in life, Cletus, that are just, to look back, it's just ridiculously funny. Stupid shit, man.
Yeah,
it's
me
funny.
too. Me too. They all ended in divorce.
I fortunately was divorced. Not fortunately. I mean, to be honest with you, I wish I'd have stayed married, but it wasn't going to happen. That marriage was over. So out I went. And that was the divorce lasted longer than the marriage.
Yeah.
So yeah, my success in relationships is my record's pretty bad.
Kind of like that prosthetic versus the penicillin. One lasted longer than the other.
My mom is so hairy, people think she's an Ewok. It's kind of funny that I mean, my statement about a woman with one arm is a billion times more humorous than anything this guy could come out with, isn't it?
Your mom's so hairy, people think she's an Ewok. Well,
let me just say that might be true, crime, lies, and videotapes, but I don't know who my real mother is. So if you do, send her directly to the headquarters, of Your Ass Hurts News Network, located at the top of Cock Tower.
And that's only an issue for people with an aversion to hair.
Right. Right. Some people love running their fingers through a back of hair. My mama obviously met a man that was down with that. Here I am. Oh my God. Unbelievable. But that's the tragedy of the modern world. We have in front of us the most revolutionary source of communication, the most revolutionary ability to come together as people. And we've turned it into a fucking nightmare. Cletus?
Yeah. A statement was made a little earlier by a gentleman that said discussion panels could solve crimes. And when I heard that, I was a little put off by it because I'm thinking I'm using my experience in discussion panels, and I'm thinking, yeah, the I would beg to differ because 99% of them I've ever been involved with would couldn't saw their way out of a wet paper bag. They become more likely setting it on fire before they would solve the problem of getting out of it.
And the core of the issue out here in social media, the issue that we all suffer is we believe in information. And once you accept a piece of information and believe in it, no fact will dissuade you from that belief. It's like trying to convince a Muslim to be a Christian. That's the biggest problem we have on social media. People believe Chris Proudfoot is a piece of shit and therefore he's connected to the disappearance. Once you believe in man's information, you become a roving fucking moron idiot that goes to social media.
Well, belief leads to emotion, and emotion always kills a conversation.
Right. And they tell you don't talk politics and don't talk religion when you're in a group gathering or at a party. You go to a picnic. You don't want to bring up politics or religion because you're talking about things that people have a belief in. That's the reason that advice is given. No longer anymore. That's been trampled and destroyed. But that's sound advice. You never want to debate people in their belief. And that's what people do when they hear a story about Koberger. They hear a story. The correlation between belief and how people engage information is incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and it's kind of sick and saddening when you think about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've been told breaking news. My mom is so fat she gets group insurance, which is fine. Which is fine. It took me a tank of gas to get around his mother's fat ass, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I found my way. I drive a fucking Geo Metro. It gets 72 miles to the gallon. The fuck? I still ran out of gas.
Oh Lord, I'm
Oh,
glad.
man.
I'm glad he came in here with in the peanut gallery, because yeah, my brain was
He's a good
fried.
example. This is what the internet's about. Now, I may tell people on the internet en masse that you're a bunch of fucking lunatics, but he's the example of the lunatic I'm talking to. The question is, how do you get through that lunacy? How do you get that fucking moron to listen? What do you think there, Cletus?
Well, in the words of a wise man once said, "The world may never know."
The world may never know. Cletus, you've got insightful information that's just powerful.
Well, it's something that you acquire when you reach the tip of Cock Tower Square.
I'm glad Wanda made a statement, and you did too. You said you can't. I'm gonna tell you guys, you're wrong. I've already gave you the example. I asked that question intentionally just to see what the feedback was from you and them. And even though your answer was insightful, I'm going to now tell you, both the Wanda Life and Cletus, that you're wrong. Because you got to deal with people like that the same way you deal with that horse that you want to drink water. You see, the problem that we have, and I tried bringing it out yesterday, but I was a little too ramped up yesterday on cherry Coke. So
You got to watch that cherry Coke.
Well, the thing you do with people like this that make statements like this
Mm-hmm.
is you got to keep after and hound them, and then you've got to shame them. Like I had said, the issue in the Sebastian Roberts case is Nick Barris. He's a public figure that behaves like this Doc fucking whatever the fuck he is. Okay, Dick Doc. I don't know his name. And what was the deal? So Nick Barris goes out, and not only has he made a video that's fake, now he's didn't he do something about an email and something? What else did he do now with is he tied to Seth's comment about the lie detector test? What else has Seth Barrett done since he did that video that's all fucked up?
The last thing I saw him do was try to debunk Seth Rogers' private investigator's post about she had an email that she posted. Now, mind you, she's a private investigator, which, the word private has absolutely nothing to do with it, apparently, because everything she gets, she posts to social media, like the email she got from Sumner County legal department, who replied to her and said that this was actually a criminal investigation. So she immediately took it upon herself to post it to social media. And then Nick Barris felt it in the best interest of the world to debunk that without any, in anything other than his word, which we all know is so valuable.
Okay, so here's the reason I bring up Nick Barris is that as a group of people, as a group of social media fucking, which is true reality, that's the target that should be part of the Sebastian Rogers case. He told everybody a video was of showing flashlights walking through the backyards of the Rogers home. Fair enough.
That's fair.
And then he had more to come. He set it up on a Friday like he was the biggest, baddest newsman since Walter Cronkite. And then when we realize he's lying to us, nobody does anything to Nick. Nobody even wants to talk about Nick Barris. And the only way to get rid of reporters like Nick Barris is to shame them into fucking going away. Rather than do that, you'd rather try to shame the parents of a missing child. And you'd rather go along with one parent that's all three people, as far as we know, in all fairness to anybody that lost a kid, all 3 people are tore up by the missing child. Fair enough?
That's fair.
And they should be treated that fucking way until evidence says to you otherwise. They should be given that respect. They fucking don't, their kid's gone. And so when the one father in his frustration and his anger and his despair starts throwing the other parents under the bus, nobody should have engaged in that or allowed him to engage in that. Save that for once this case is over, not during the fucking search for the kid. And yet, what do the YouTubers do like Crime, Lies, and Videotape? The click-sucking fucking maniacs. What do they do, Cletus? I mean, that's why we had to move the cock tower. You can click suck us all away, but you got a big one to suck on, okay?
You're going to get it shot straight regardless.
Dear God.
Well, the reason I bring up that private investigator, that just one of the things that's just chapped my entire ass with that situation is, and I don't really think anybody's looked at the dynamics of that situation. So this private investigator got this email response when she had placed a request for records related to the case. And the response she got was something to the effect of weren't able to release records due to an ongoing criminal investigation. Well, instead of that being something that a private investigator would take and follow up on in private, they post it to social media. And then the one asshole that decides to contest it is the same asshole that's already put misinformation out on the internet. So when I look at that, I see the real underlying issue is that now you've got 2 click suckers that are fighting over information. And one's mad that he didn't get to it first. Not really whether or not it is a criminal investigation, just the fact that she got it before he did. And at the end of the day, the information was bullshit.
And both of them are doing the same thing. They want click suckers to pay attention to them.
Right.
Just like Crime, Lies, and Videotape, who thinks that pointing out how many people are watching this stream or how many fucking people are in our subscribers, right? As if that matters. But what he doesn't realize is we're pointing to all the assholes that follow him. Well, okay, they're welcome to come in here, but they're going to have to swallow a big set of balls, okay? And that is, you're the fucking problem. You people make social media a fucking nightmare. And then people like Crime, Lies, and Videotapes and JLR and all those other fucking screwballs incite you fucking morons. And your time would be better spent, much better spent, if you did something fucking correct, did something fair. And how hard is that to fucking expect of each other? And when you get a Nick Barris in the mix, and there's and you get JLR and you get idiots like this guy that goes after Eon fucking harsh, these people need to be laughed at and avoided. All they're doing is racking up clicks for their own fuck, because these people they don't have a skill they can go out in the world and do anything with. And they found out that if they could be moronic assholes on the internet, they could get paid for it. Right? And you go on the internet and all of your fucking streamers, except me, just be aware, except myself and Cletus, I suspect as well. I was never a viewer of YouTube before I started a stream. Quite the contrary. I had never even engaged in social media when I started streaming, ever. That was the first thing I did on social media. So I'm not the insane audience that created a stream. I'm the sane guy telling the audience how fucking insane you are, and you need to snap the fuck out of it and do something different. Make a difference in this fucking world. You've got the most powerful communication device ever conceived by, this is as good as telepathy, almost. It's a level below telepathy, and you turned it into a fucking shit show by listening to guys like Crime, Lies, and Videotape. The only thing true in his fucking title is lies, because he's probably a mad fucking liar. Right?
Well, and I think, in terms of back to the conversation we've had multiple times about which is the problem, the viewer or the creator, they're the same fucking people.
They
are.
I think
if creators would just reflect on where they came from as a viewer and what their influences were and the impact that's had. Look at the streamers that are out there that have been that have spawned worse versions of themselves. You got people with the bionic eye and the bionic ear that spawn, the the redneck engineer deer and the glass eye,
And the composer, who was that grand composer? What was that name again?
Central Scrutinizer.
The central scrutinizer that claims they heard a fucking manhole cover being dragged. Another guy that saw fucking reflections in asphalt of Ethan being urinated on by 3 different individuals. Those are creators. What are they creating? And what are people listening to? Because if this is your sense of entertainment, you're a sick son of a bitch. This is a serious issue. 4 young people were slaughtered in a home. This is no time to make up dramatized, fake, bullshit, hateful stories for amusement. Fair enough?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, creators need to consider the fact that they're only going to create worse versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Very rarely will a creator create another creator that's better or is at the same level as they are.
Right. For the longest time, I was part of true crime, and I was on panel after panel after panel. Right. I mean, to the point where everybody thought I had a fucking channel. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't use, and I am not going to use that particular process that I was a part of because I enjoyed doing it. But I didn't use that as a way to build a YouTube channel. Now, did I? I didn't advertise myself or entice people or tell people I was going to do this. I kept telling everybody no. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. And yet somehow we still have almost 400 followers on this channel between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty good considering the fact that we just out of nowhere jumped up here. And what we're really doing is, I think, a service that more people should be providing. And that's reminding the community, you're the fucking problem, but you can also fix it. Stop it. I don't want you to quit these viewers. If you think that these guys held any value, then hold them to fucking account. Some screwball running around trying to show you that it was Enon Harsh needs to be told enough. Enon Harsh isn't accused of doing anything except for you fucking crazy thinking head. He's not even listed in the fucking documents anywhere. So how any of the people that aren't listed in the documents should not be part of the discussion of that case. Fair enough?
Yeah, I think, the ultimate point would be just because he's an easy target doesn't mean he's the right target. Especially if you don't believe that the person that's accused of the crime is the right person, then why not go after the accuser instead of an alternate person?
Fair, exactly. That, you know what? That's exactly, couldn't be said any better. We have a responsibility, and yes, for somehow we think that this social media is fake, but we impact. Look at these proudfoots that don't even want to stay home. And any chance they get out of the house. They go somewhere. They stay away. They go camping. They get away from all the lunatics from YouTube. And then YouTubers say they're running away and not looking for their kid is why they're chasing them around. And it's the opposite. All right. I mean, would you want to be walking around looking for your son with all these lunatics that these channels have helped create? I wouldn't.
No, because I would, the outcome of that would not be good.
It could be dangerous for these parents. No, it literally could be dangerous.
It could, absolutely.
And so the YouTube community hasn't provided any help in the way of finding Sebastian. What they've done is they've took 2 parents and basically turned them into fucking convicts and criminals, and now they've got to hide out. They're on the run, for God's sakes, for maybe not, exactly on the run, but I wouldn't want to converse or interact with any of these people. Like JLR is trying to goad Chris to talk to him. Chris probably would have snapped his scrawny little neck. Cletus?
Well, I mean, they probably have have a little bit of time because Butt Crack Betty's car broke down on her way. So
Butt Crack Betty never made it?
She hadn't made it yet. Her car broke down. So they've got a little bit of time to breathe easy.
Are the driver's side tires the ones that wore first?
More to come, Sarge. More to come.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's coming from our technical department. Butthole Betty. Oh my God. It is. And it's the example our kids we're setting for our kids. It's it. And the fact that people will come up to defend that is just shocking to me. There's no, you're like, I don't know, man. You're defending a barren land. There's nothing to defend there. Where did what's his name go there? Oh, she didn't boot him.
No,
I did boot him.
Oh, did you boot him?
Oh, yeah. You didn't have to boot him. I left him in here for the longest time.
Well, no, he's timed out. He can come back in 24 hours.
There you go. He can be back tomorrow.
Yeah, you didn't have to boot him. I nothing anybody says can insult. My mother may be covered in fucking hair. I don't know who she is, so what the fuck do I know? I don't care. She'd be dead she's dead anyway, probably right now. But anything he says to me doesn't offend me at all.
Well, and remember, there's always someone somewhere that, just absolutely would kill for a miniature hair covered female.
You're a sick boy, Cletus. A sick boy, and I'm starting to understand the 7 no's. The 7 no's. We're not going to get 8. I guarantee it. Cletus, I think you did a tremendous job with this show tonight.
Oh, well, thanks, Sarge. It was a team effort. Always a team effort at the tip of the Cock Tower Square.
Cock Tower, right? And I can't wait to see that new ballroom. The look of my ballroom is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. There's got to be a huge tongue down there. More on that later.
and don't forget to thank our sponsor, Ding-a-Ling.
And dingleberries, which are fucked up thing to experience. Thank God I don't have that problem. Anyway, Cletus.
But I bet your Ewok mother does.
My Ewok mom does. It'd be, my mom was a miniature Wookiee.
Sarge.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a question from the crowd somewhere. I've lost it. I will find it again. But they want to know: are you sure about the dingleberry part, even when you sneeze?
Yeah, but they're the dingleberries that people know what they are kind of fastened to the hair, and they simply just flow with the stream. They just like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, and when you reach a certain age to where your nose and your asshole are more closely aligned, they just become wind chimes on the way out.
Oh.
Yeah, you see, when you sneeze, you blow air out of both ends. Somehow your lungs supercharge your fucking bowel, and the next thing you know, my advice to anybody over 50 is to wear shorts to bed. I don't care who you are. Cletus.
Sarge, I believe we are at our hour.
We are at our hour. Let's see what time. We are at our hour. Well, it's been wonderful.
It has. Always, Sarge. Always.
And did I get you last night or no?
I think I hung up.
We got him tonight, didn't we, folks? Oh boy. Oh yes, here we are at the Your Ass Hurts News Network. And our attempt to be childish and our attempt to be humorous, I beat Cletus to the punch. It's not an easy thing to do. He's quite a bit younger than me. So, all right, folks. I'm glad you all came in, and we'll be back tomorrow at 9. We'll try to bring in some breaking news, maybe something unspoken of prior to this evening. Until then, everybody be good.